Well, viewers, let's give you a detailed understanding of the 5G rollout. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated the 5th generation services and telecom services in India, marking the beginning of the next gen ultra-high-speed network and many other improved facilities. The rollout of the 5G telecommunication services will be done in a phased manner over the next 2 years. The network will be launched in 13 cities first. Which are these cities? Let's put that out. These cities include Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Chandigarh, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad and Kolkata. So these are the cities who will witness the rollout in the very first phase. But of course, this is going to be a pan-India rollout eventually within the next 2 years. So telecom networks have also set deadlines for themselves for a complete rollout and for a pan-India access. Let's put out what the telecom giants have set for themselves. Reliance Jio, for example, is set to bring in its 5G plans by Diwali in India around the period of 22nd to 26th of October. But the service will be available in 4 Indian cities only. That's Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. All other large cities may not see 5G reception all at once. Reliance Jio has announced that other cities in the country will get access to 5G in a phased out manner by December 2023. Let's talk about Bharti Airtel, that has also announced that the telecom operator will roll out 5G services in 8 Indian cities starting today. While Airtel hasn't really clarified which 8 cities these will be, one can expect them to be the metro cities like Mumbai and Delhi. Airtel has also announced that it will bring 5G connectivity all across India by March 2024. Vodafone Idea has not announced a deadline yet. In fact, it has not made any announcement with regards to by when 5G related developments will be spread across India. It seems Vodafone Idea customers will have a longer wait in this regard. So at the mega launch event, in attendance were telecom head honchos, Bharti Airtel chairman Sunil Bharti Mittal, Aditya Birla Group's Kumar Mangalam Birla and Reliance's Mukesh Ambani. Let's listen in.
5G के साथ भारत पहली बार टेलीकॉम टेक्नोलॉजी में ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड तय कर रहा है। भारत लीड कर रहा है। आज इंटरनेट का इस्तेमाल करने वाला हर व्यक्ति इस बात को समझ रहा है कि 5G इंटरनेट का पूरा आर्किटेक्चर बदल कर रख देगा। इसलिए भारत के युवाओं के लिए आज 5G बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी लेकर आया है। डिजिटल इंडिया सिर्फ एक नाम नहीं है, ये देश के विकास का बहुत बड़ा विजन है। इस विजन का लक्ष्य है उस टेक्नोलॉजी को आम लोगों तक पहुंचाना जो लोगों के लिए काम करे और लोगों के साथ जुड़कर काम करे। इसलिए हमने 4 पिलर्स पर और 4 दिशाओं में एक साथ फोकस किया। पहला, डिवाइस की कीमत। दूसरा, डिजिटल कनेक्टिविटी। तीसरा, डेटा की कीमत। चौथा, और जो सबसे जरूरी है, डिजिटल फर्स्ट की सोच।
5G will have a significant impact on the education sectors and health sectors. These 2 sectors will be big beneficiaries of 5G, and I believe with this today's launch by Honorable Prime Minister, India will emerge as a leader of technology in telecom sector. Very soon we should be covering more than 200 cities and small towns. Very soon, within a period of next 2 years, we should be able to cover practically every part of the country in 5G.
The steps taken to fast-track India's march into the 5G era provide a compelling proof of our Prime Minister's determination. 5G is much more than the next generation of connectivity technology. As an industry, we will ensure that we have the highest quality and the most affordable rates that anyone else has in the world. Today, I want to reiterate Jio's commitment to deliver 5G to every town, every taluka, and every tehsil of our district by December of 2023.
आज एक बहुत ही अहम दिन है देश के लिए। एक नए युग की शुरुआत होने जा रही है और मेरा ये मानना है कि इस युग की शुरुआत जो ये 75वीं साल की आज़ादी की अमृत महोत्सव के टाइम पे हो रही है, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के कर कमलों से ये एक देश में नई जागरूकता लाएगी, एक नई एनर्जी लाएगी और इससे जैसे अभी मुकेश ने भी बताया कि बहुत सी नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज हमारे देशवासियों के लिए खुलेंगी।
Another landmark in India, the reforms in telecom sector launched by the UPA government is showing the fruits now. So it is revolution started in telecom sector during Rajiv Gandhiji's time, and Sam Petroda was the chairman of the CDOT, and now India is witnessing 5G technology, which is it's helpful to the agriculture sector, to every normal citizens of the country.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today did the grand launch of 5G services, and all the three major telecom companies, their heads were present on the stage, Vodafone Idea, Airtel and Jio. Now they also presented and depicted how 5G services can be used for various sectors. They did a live demo. In fact, one of the companies, they connected to inside a tunnel of the Delhi metro where the work was going on, and how real-time monitoring can be done and the risks can be avoided for human resources through using the 5G services. Another telecom company, they showcased how 5G technology can be used to improve the experience in the education sector. Another telecom company, they connected with a girl in UP through hologram live, and the Prime Minister could talk to her. So that was a grand launch by the Prime Minister himself, and what he emphasized on, that India will not be a mere consumer of 5G services, but it will play an important role in its development as well. Already, if we see the mobile manufacturing, India has come to second position all over the world.
Right, so let's have the experts join us on this show. Let's welcome Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal, MD, Paramount Communication Limited, and Chairman of the Telecom Export Promotion Council of India. Also joining us is Mahesh Uppal, who is an expert in the area of telecom. Very warm welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Before I begin my questions, let's just put it out here. The data has shown that only 9.7% of Indians have 5G supportive smartphones. So for accessing 5G services, bulk of Indians will have to upgrade their phones. That is number one. Number two, all that we've just heard, like, of course, we know that this is something that was long awaited. The Prime Minister is extremely hopeful. There is a lot of optimism, but how long would it really take us to become a 5G nation? The rollout plan is extending over the next 2 years from what we can see. So what are your thoughts on this? Mahesh Uppal, if I may begin with you.
Thank you. Yes, I quite agree with what you just said. I think there is no doubt that the technology itself is extremely powerful with huge number of very, very impressive features. But our readiness when it comes to end users is limited as far as of now. There is a very small subset of people who have 5G handsets, and 5G handsets themselves are not that cheap. Roughly about 20,000 rupees is what I hear is the average price, is the sort of entry price. So it's not something that the end user can readily use. And of course, for the end user to use, there has to be a network. And the 5G network, as again you pointed out, is going to take a while to roll out. 5G is not easy to roll out for one major reason, which is that it needs several times more towers than we had for 4G even. And which means that you need permissions to install these towers on all kinds of public infrastructure like electricity poles and street lights and things like that, what is called street furniture. Now, all that is actually quite time-consuming, expensive, as well as prone to a whole lot of interruptions and disruptions. So it's not something that is going to happen in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And also remember that the use case, as far as the end user is concerned, is limited. However, to be fair, the industry and enterprises are more than ready to make use of a large number of these features. So, for example, factories can benefit from speedy automation. Logistics can benefit immensely from the use of 4G technologies. Some of the more sophisticated hospitals can certainly start things like remote surgeries and so on and so forth. And so there is a lot of use cases when it comes to industry and enterprises. So the operators themselves would therefore be careful to cater to specific enterprises and industries, cater to specific regions and specific users. They will not create, in the short term, they will not create a pervasive nationwide network because, one, it would be very expensive and time-consuming, and as we pointed out earlier, the users themselves are not ready to use it, and the benefits that it offers to users right now are limited. What they will see, what a 5G user today will see, is largely very high-speed downloads. Okay. And if that person is a gamer, for example, somebody who is into internet gaming, etc., for them, 5G can make a huge difference because of the low latency. But for most other users are not in a position to make the best use of 5G, and the players, given the cost and time involved, will also plan accordingly so that that it's cost effective for them and they can get some returns on the huge investments that they have already made in spectrum, etc. Mm-hmm.
All right, Sandeep Aggarwal, in terms of the vision, right? Let me just have Mr. Aggarwal as well weigh in on the points made by Mr. Uppal. Feel free to comment and also tell us about how do you feel about this entire vision that is laid out in front of us. We are made to believe that it will create a country with better connectivity, with greater access to the internet for the country at large. So is that going to happen? Will it make us as a nation more empowered, even if we are talking about a timeline of 2 years?
See, I would say the vision of our Prime Minister is grand. And we are looking at going for a 5 trillion economy with a 1 trillion digital economy. Now, to have a 1 trillion digital economy, these things are must. So when we are investing for 5G, we are actually improving our 4G network to an extent that we can fully use it. So even though we will be investing, it will be in basically upgrading our 4G and making it 5G ready. And about $100 billion will be invested by the industry and the government in upgrading the system. About 3,000 million, 3 billion fiber kilometers is going to be put in to upgrade the systems. about 100 times more towers than what we are having today will be put up. Although those towers will be smaller than the current towers, but for 5G, 100 times more towers are needed. So basically, we'll not be going whole hog into that 100 times more towers. But having said that, there will be a lot of investment. But important thing is that the country will be empowered. The education sector is going to get a great big boost. Children can learn on 3D animation, holographics. The top teachers of the country could be teaching across hundreds of schools, giving them lectures, training the teachers. It is going to change the quality of education in the country, and with that, it is going to improve the skill set. Because we are not going to remain at $5 trillion economy, we have to become 10 trillion, 40 trillion, we have to cross the US GDP in the next 25 years. So to do that, the government is investing into the technology. It is now what we actually believe is the government should also look into investing into people taking, making new apps, making new equipments which are beyond what is today. And that is what the government is doing with the PLI scheme coming in, the government encouraging the industry to invest. So about 2.5 billion is coming into the solar panels, but 10 billion is coming into the semiconductors and display. These are all related to basically semiconductor, even the solar panels. That's why I refer to that. So the investment which is going to come into this is going to give a big boost to the capital industry. So the capital industry is going to get a big boom. The consumer, the rural folk is not going to get 5G per se initially, but they will get high speeds of 4G, which is actually what they require today. And so therefore they will be 5G ready. So issue of having handsets 5G ready or 5G handsets may not be a big problem right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. These are very important points you're making. But again, you know, I have to be the devil's advocate. So I have to sort of point out the things that may become an issue. For example, there is no clarity by telecom companies on the tariffs that they would charge for 5G. Telecom companies, as we know, are currently in debt. Would 5G get them out of it or sink them deeper? That is one major concern that has been, pointed out by many experts. Would you like to comment, Mr. Mahesh Uppal and Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal? Mr. Uppal first.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think it's a very important question about about tariffs as well as the debt that the sector has. Now, as far as the tariffs are concerned, given the target user, given the target industries, etc., I do not expect this tariff to be particularly low, because the people who will be targeted first have the ability to pay, and of course the companies will need higher tariffs to expedite their returns. So I expect 5G services to carry a premium, at least for the foreseeable future. And unless there is a large market for 5G services, which, as you pointed out, it'll take, at least in my view, at least a couple of years for that market to expand, when it would make sense to charge very, very competitive prices, as happened in the 4G case. But till that time is, till we reach that stage, I think we are going to see a premium. Now, and the debt of the sector is huge, and I think there will be much less incentive for the players to reduce tariffs at this point, having paid fairly substantial sums for spectrum, having to upgrade their networks, having to deploy a more dense network, and so on and so forth. All those things will make them think twice before going for very, very aggressive pricing and particularly getting into any kind of tariff war.
Right. Interesting. Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal?
Yeah, so I would say that yes, they will and can sink into greater debts. But what we can do is we can combine the networks, the fiber optics, the towers. They can all be used simultaneously. And with this new telecom policy, these things are all allowed. And I believe instead of investing 3.5 times over, like 3.5 players, as we say, we should invest once, and every player can use that investment. So that is a possibility that will reduce the amount of cost. And also, as my fellow panelist rightly said, that the investment which is going into this has to be recovered, and it will be recovered by higher tariff. But the people who are going to do this are the creamy layer and the government. So when we are talking about rural education or health sector to rural, it will be the government which will be buying these services. And for the government, even at these higher prices, actually they will be saving a lot of money, because experts traveling to rural areas is almost impossible, and the cost is very, very high.
Right.
While those experts will be talking from their 5G networks will be much cheaper. So the government will be able to pay for that.
Yes, I mean, it's all connected. And I also want to add one more point. Will it decongest our cities? The more digital we become, the less we travel, the less the remote learning concept, if that gains ground, it will give access to quality education to our children. That is one of the major points. At least I'm interested to know whether that will happen or not in a country like ours, where we do have great talent, but because of lack of access, a lot of issues, a lot of people in the rural areas do not get the best of everything that people in the cities do. Therefore, there's a congestion in our metro cities. Can we also address those things? This will, of course, be a long discussion, and unfortunately, we're completely out of time for now. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us with your informed views on the subject.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's it for now. News and updates continue on the other side. Do stay with Mirror now.